I was doing videos reading quotes from different philosophers and thinkers and theologians and spiritual figures of the past. And today I'm going to continue with a thinker and a spiritual writer of antiquity that you might not have heard of, or maybe you kind of heard of, but you're not too aware of. Everyone knows of Plato, right? We've all heard of Plato and Socrates and Aristotle, of course. They're like the fathers of modern philosophy, or philosophy as we know it. I think Alfred North Whitehead said that all philosophy is footnotes to Plato. Now, many people are not aware of another figure who came a few hundred years later, and his name was Plotinus, Plotinus. And I'm going to put a link in the description so you can check him out. By the way, I just made a small donation to Wikipedia. I think Wikipedia is really cool, and I'm happy to give a donation because I use it a lot. And I'm going to use it right now to tell you a little bit about Plotinus. So Plotinus was a Greek philosopher, and he was a Platonist. So he was a follower of Plato, and he's actually called a Neoplatonist. He was the father of Neoplatonic thought. And let's see, he was born and raised in Roman Egypt. Plotinus is regarded by modern scholarship as the founder of Neoplatonism. His teacher was the self-taught philosopher Ammonius Saccas, who belonged to the Platonic tradition. Historians of the 19th century invented the term Neoplatonism and applied it to refer to Plotinus and his philosophy, which was vastly influential during late antiquity, the Middle Ages, and the Renaissance. So this guy was a very influential figure. Plotinus has been very influential. Much of the biographical information about Plotinus comes from Porphyry's preface to his editions of Plotinus's most notable literary work, which is the Enneads. In his metaphysical writings, Plotinus describes these three fundamental principles: the one, the intellect, and the soul. His work has inspired centuries of pagan, Jewish, Christian, Gnostic, and early Islamic metaphysicians and mystics, including developing precepts that influence mainstream theological concepts within religions, such as his work on duality of the one in two metaphysical states. Plotinus, I'm not going to read this whole thing. So this is fascinating. He had a very big influence, and he had a very big influence on a diverse group of people, like all different religious people of all different religions. He was also, I think he was very in the Gnostic tradition, and he influenced Gnosticism. He had a very deep distrust of materiality, is what this says, including he didn't even want pictures of him, like anyone to paint a picture of him. So let me just read you at the end of his life. It says, his final words at the end of his life were, "Try to raise the divine in yourselves to the divine in all." To the divine in the all. Try to raise the divine in yourself to the divine in the all. And then there was someone who recorded that a snake crept under the bed where Plotinus lay as he was dying and slipped away through the hole in the wall at the same moment the philosopher died. So snake came in under the bed and slipped through the wall, and he died. We're not going to go into all of his philosophy actually right now. I'm just going to read some quotes, and we're going to just talk about A Course in Miracles in light of these quotes. But I want to mention one other thing, which is he had an influence on Christian theology. He also influenced and influenced and might have been influenced by Indian philosophy, especially Vedanta and especially Advaita Vedanta, which is the non-dual metaphysics of India, this non-dual metaphysical system. His philosophy, Plotinus' philosophy, seems very, very similar to these ideas that we find in Advaita Vedanta, and I would say in the Course of Miracles. So let's read some of these quotes, and I'm going to try to show how what he's saying is similar to what the Course says. So here are the quotes. Withdraw into yourself and look. I don't think we need to say much about that, but withdraw into yourself and look. Next quote. We must enter deep into ourselves, and leaving behind the objects of corporeal sight, no longer look back after any of the accustomed spectacles of sense. So we leave the world of sense, we go beyond the physical senses, we go beyond the corporeal eye or corporeal sight, which the Course actually uses the term physical eye. It also has the term spiritual eye, not in the FIP edition of the Course, but in earlier editions, it differentiated between the spiritual eye and the physical eye. So you go beyond the physical. The physical eye would be the ego, right? The egoic way of perceiving. And you go within, you go inside of yourself to see the truth, to know the truth. Life is the flight of the alone to the alone. Life is the flight of the alone to the alone. This is, I think, a famous quote. You could say, life is the flight of the alone to the all one. When we look outside of that on which we depend, we ignore our unity. Looking outward, we see many faces. Look inward, and all is one head. If a man could but be turned about, he would see at once God and himself and the all. So if you could turn your mind within yourself, you would know the nature of things. You would know God. But because we look outward, we always look out externally. That's what our eyes were made to do, and that's what we do all through our life, is we look out. And how often do we ever look in? until someone says things like this, right? And then we get on a spiritual path and we start to look within ourselves. This all is universal power of infinite extent and infinite impotency, a God so great that all his parts are infinite. Name any place and he is already there. So God is in everything. God is everywhere in everything. Seems to be what this is saying, and this is what the Course is saying as well. The Course of Miracles is saying this as well. That we've never left God. God is still here, right? It's just the veil of illusion that seems to make it otherwise than what it is. And the Hindus call it Maya, the veil of Maya. Self-knowledge reveals to the soul that its natural motion is not, if uninterrupted, in a straight line, but circular, as around some inner object about a center, the point to which it owes its origin. I'm going to read this again. Self-knowledge reveals to the soul that its natural motion is not, if uninterrupted, in a straight line, but circular, as around some inner object about a center, the point to which it owes its origin. So the soul, the natural motion of the soul, according to those who know themselves, those who have self-knowledge, it's not linear, it's circular. You go to the center, right? You find the center. And the movement is circular into the center. Or around the center. And the center point would be the origin of things. Those who believe that the world of being is governed by luck or chance, and that it depends upon material causes, are far removed from the divine and from the notion of the one. So there's no randomness, there's no luck or chance. This is also what Jesus says in A Course in Miracles. There is a divine plan at work. There's a greater plan that we cannot fathom. But the Course merely asserts and affirms that nothing happens here randomly, although it may seem to be that way. There's no chance. There is a there is a unity and a perfection that we cannot see with our physical eyes. That's why we need divine sight. We need to go within ourselves. All teams with symbol, the wise man is the man who in any one thing can read another. So this is getting at the holographic nature of reality, right? You can understand, if you know one thing, you know everything, right? And if you know everything, you know one thing, right? But if you know one thing, you know everything. Knowing one thing is, you realize that one thing is everything. It's all contained in every part and part, every part of creation contains the whole. And that would also include us, right? That we are microcosms of the macrocosm. Or as the, I believe the Hermetic tradition, or maybe the Gnostic tradition as well, as above, so below, right? Or as within, so without, and so on. As is the great, so is the small. Everything is included in every other thing. It is in virtue of unity that beings are beings. It is in virtue of unity that beings are beings. That's the last quote I had. So we could go deeper into Plotinus. He seems like a fascinating philosopher, and obviously he had a huge impact. This one small dude, and his major work was the Enneads. Maybe we'll get there at some point to look more into that work. All right. Hey, I just wanted to mention that we're going to do another Zoom call on Monday at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time if you want to join. And what else? I think that's it for right now. If you want to get on the call, you just send me your email. You can just send it to me in a message. My email also is allowah13@gmail.com. So allowah13@gmail.com. And by the way, what I was reading from was a book that I have on Amazon. It's called Simply A Course in Miracles, pen name Alawalani, Simply A Course in Miracles. I appreciate those of you who bought the book. Thank you. And I'm going to keep doing some readings from it. And we're going to keep talking about other themes and issues and thinkers and so on that relate to A Course in Miracles, and keep relating it back to A Course in Miracles. But we'll also talk about these things in themselves as well. But the point is that it's all related, because it's all dealing with universal themes and so on. All right. See you very soon. Thank you.